The sun is finally shining. We've had like 3 days of nothing but downpours. I mean, downpours totally. And according to my app that gives me a forecast, we're going to have a couple more days of it. But right now the sky's blue and it looks beautiful. So I decided to come out and see how everything fared with all the much rain. Well, my potatoes are looking good, that's for sure. I have a couple that need some dirt piled on them. They try to poke themselves up. Ooh, I have a kale in there that's nice and big. My arborvitae looking good. Oh wow, my little dead, not dead. Let me see where to put my foot so I don't step on a plant. Let me put up close there. You can see it's coming right along my little fig tree. Yes. I moved my beans. They were over there. I moved them over here before we had all that rain because we might have to dig up part of this. But I don't know exactly where the digging is going to happen yet. So the other things I'll wait till I see what's going on. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. If you happen to know, please let me know in the comments. Oh, and I have a pretty purple flower. Let's see if I can zoom in on it. Isn't that gorgeous? It's a lily of some sort, or an iris. Iris is what I meant to say. Not a bearded iris, but a different kind of iris. Here you can see the rain sparkling on the leaves. This area is kind of a puzzlement to me. It has gotten so thick with, I guess I'd call them weeds. That's, I think, a creeping something or other. Creeping Virginia creeper, I don't know. And then there's some nightshade plants in there too that are, I understand, are poisonous, but they're quite pretty. And all of my regular irises. And there's a wild rose. And there should be some lazy Susan, not lazy Susans, what do you call, black-eyed Susans that come up in there, but I haven't seen them yet. They usually come later in the summer. And a walnut tree that we've cut down several times, it keeps coming back. But it's just a thick jungle, almost so much that you can't get in there and do anything about it. Okay, here's my latest, what I did. If you remember, it all looked like it was full of grass like that. I got out here the other day and pulled up all that grass. I need to get mulch down so that it doesn't come back so readily. But it really makes the mint and the lilies stand out. Over here I have something that I think the leaves look like hollyhocks, and again, this is an area where I need to pull out the grass, but does that look like hollyhock leaves to you? If not, what is it? And see I have more lilies in there, and then just a lot of weeding needs to be done. My husband said not to do it though because the garbage can is full, and I don't typically put that grass in the compost because I don't want to take the risk of planting it in other places. In here, I have, in addition to my lilies, I have a forest of thistles. I believe that is, let's see if I can zoom in on it right there. Are we seeing it? It's hard to put my phone right on what I'm trying to look at. Yes, I believe that's a butterfly bush. Oh, and that still looks fine. I transplanted, if you've watched some of my previous videos, I have a whole bunch of this over another part of the yard, and I transplanted some of it in hopes to get some started here. If that takes over in a few years, it could drown out all those thistles. That would be nice. So it's a pretty lush little forest. I wouldn't call it a food forest exactly. The other end, when all my squash plants come up, not squash, pumpkins and stuff. The only thing I don't plant is zucchini. I do not plant zucchini because the neighbor across the street plants zucchini, and she always has more than enough for both of us. And every year I forget the name of this plant. It doesn't spread, but it comes back year after year. And it is, I call it my stinky plant because it has quite an odor to it when you brush up against it. But if you know what it is, put a comment say something in the comments. I would love to know what you think it is. The leaves they have leaves like, let me make this smaller so you can really see. Okay, so you can see the leaves are across from each other. They come up, there's 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of leaves and then one on the end. Doesn't make any fruit or anything. And when it goes to seed, it's kind of, ooh, I can smell that, ooh, kind of star-shaped, but I've never been able to replant the seeds and get them to come up. But it's when they all get bloomed out like that one's getting to be, it's gorgeous. Over here my sunflowers, looks like they got a few bug bites on them, but they're growing. A grape, and my pinto beans are looking good. More grape, more sunflowers, more grape, a tomato plant, more sunflowers, another tomato plant, sunflower, little grape, and a big grape. Sunflower, tomato. I think I planted something there, but it's gone. Tomato, sunflower. So I should have a nice row of beautiful flowers along this fence. Now this patch of iris are pretty much in bloom now, whereas my other patch over alongside the garage, they're just about done. It's a difference in how much sun they get. This gets morning sun but shade in the hot afternoon sun, which is basically why my worm bins are here, because that's the coolest place in the yard I found for them. I think this is a type of hydrangea. We cut it way, way, way down, which I think means it probably won't bloom, but because it gets tall and goes up and it scratches against the window, and we don't want it to harm the screen. So I'm trying to keep it just as a green shrub rather than a flowering plant. Oop. And I don't know if it was the rain or the wind or the hose that knocked this poor iris down. Okay, now we're in my garden, and gosh, the thing about rain, I was worried we were getting way too much of it, and we were. It was just, the sky was falling like poof, all of a sudden. Anyway, everything looks so lush and green afterwards. Things are growing. How's my pepper? Where's my pepper? Oh, there it is. It's still green. It hasn't had, it needs some hot sunshine in order to ripen up. I think I need to pick this chard. Yeah, my tomatoes are growing. Lettuce in there. And bok choy. And all of this is kale. All of it. It's planted thickly, but that's okay. I have over here radishes, and some of it's trying to go to seed, even though we haven't really had any hot weather. It just is doing it anyway. But I think I need to plant more. And here I've got more kale and some celery and some, I'm not sure if that's another bok choy or if it's a Swiss chard in there. And I've got cucumbers, and they seem to be doing okay. The strawberries, I need to get out here with some netting and cover them up so the birds don't beat me to them. If you can see, there's some green berries in there. And these are looking good. Oh, and some, okay, some seeds I planted in here. I've got some artichokes growing up in there. Yay. I didn't think they were ever going to germinate, but it looks like they're starting to, and that's good. That'll be a good place for some artichoke plants. I don't know if in my climate I'll actually get artichokes or if I'll just have pretty foliage. It remains to be seen. My cabbage tree, this is its third year now, and it's I need to come out and pluck off the ugly parts, but my garlic is looking good. I think this is creeping Charlie or whatever you call it, which I need to actually harvest some and fix it up to eat. I have chives blooming over there. And look at that. Whoop. Okay, here I've got some, I believe this is cabbage that I planted this year, and this is I know what it is. The name escaped me as soon as I went to say it to you. I've got the little sign down here. Let's see. That should help me. Borage. I don't know why why I couldn't think of that. It's borage. Yes, sorrel, lettuce, more cabbage, kale, Swiss chard. I think those actually might be beets. And some kale that's gone to seed. That's a beet in that pot. I believe this is a leek, but it's gone to, I thought it was a leek. Looks like it's gonna bloom on me here. And now that's my ginger. Has some yellow leaves, but I think it's doing okay. Kind of got beat up by the wind and the rain, and it's a little cooler here than ginger really likes, but I think it'll make it. Waiting for some seeds to come up in those pots. So far the only thing that's there are two things that I planted from starts, and then lettuce that I planted around the edge of one of them. I don't see anything else coming up yet, but hopefully. Seems like herbs are hard to get germinated. And let me come over here. Okay, and I think that's another artichoke. And I've got one over here too. It's a smaller one there next to the borage. And a nasturtium. My red lettuce has gone to bolt. Aha, I will take that back. I just wrote down various herbs, and I do have some of them coming up. Very good. Okay, there's a few coming up there too. Oh, and a whole bunch over here. You get close to it, you can actually see them. I just wrote the word herbs on there because I just mixed a whole bunch of them in there. There's a few coming up in this one too. So I'm glad about that. These don't have anything in them yet. These have a couple of tomato plants that were kind of puny, so I put them in there thinking they might come up. Oh, I see a little sorrel plant in there too. And my sweet potato slip. This is my year after year. This is the third or fourth year or more. I have these herbs in this container. They come back every year. So this is all looking good. Planted some kohlrabi down in there, and nothing's come up. And I've never eaten kohlrabi, and I don't seem to have any luck. 3 packages of seeds, and none of it seems to want to come up for me. So, at least not so far. I have one little plant down there that looks like it might be kohlrabi, but it's too little to tell. Oh my! I just had to tilt this. Thought I had holes in the bottom of that. That's rhubarb, but it was sitting in water, so hopefully I get it drained out. I got it tilting on this. It's wet enough that if I tilt it clear over, the dirt wants to come out too, so hopefully that's enough to get it drained out, and hopefully we catch it and caught it in time. That's a mint in the little thing next to it there. This patch of flowers is still looking pretty. And I asked in a previous video, but I haven't gotten any answers yet as to what kind of a flower this is. The leaves are similar in nature to the Shasta daisies that are there, but it's obviously not a daisy. And these purple ones are the same, only all purple instead of white and purple. There's a pink one over there all by itself. Oh, here's one that turned pink also. I guess maybe it's turning pink as it's getting ready to be done. Some mint down in there, and lemon balm snuck down in there too. Am I showing it to you? Yeah, I think so. Yeah, there we go. I haven't seen any birds be takers on my bird bath, and I have nothing planted in my wheelbarrow yet. Okay. Cucumbers. When I see something's been trying to eat part of them, I need to get out here with something to protect them. And of course I didn't label those, but I think the kales, that's what I think. Do you think maybe you can tell that I love kale? Over here, and I have some, it looks like Swiss chard down in there coming up. Could be beets, but I suspect it's Swiss chard. Peppers and mystery plant, which again I ask if someone knew what it was. I know it's a weed, and it's obviously not a dandelion, but it's kind of looks in the same family-ish. So I'll wander over here. I planted, what did I plant in here? Some flowers, I forget what. Okay, I have a few more corns coming up. They're awfully small. And then my arugula that's going to bolt. And my carrots are coming up in there. I haven't planted anything in these two yet, and I don't even have dirt in that one. See, that's still looking alive. That's what I thought was over from the other side of the house. I explained to you that we want to try to keep it cut down because it goes up against the window shade. So I transplanted some of it to over here where it can grow to its heart's content. There's another one of those plants over there that I was showing you, but I don't know what it is. And there was some onion sets in there. I planted, what did I plant out here? Planted something. I came out here and planted something. Well, I think maybe if I went back and looked at a video where I think I might have shown you, I might remember what it is I planted, if I showed it to you on a video. If. We'll know when it comes up, if it comes up. I need to get along here with a trimmer, get rid of all this grass. My lilacs are on their last leg. Such a pretty flower. I love the smell. Okay, and this container, in addition to my bottle tree, it has my sweet potato slips that I purchased from Baker Creek. That would be a piece of grass that needs to come out of there. Okay. So that's actually looking good. I didn't know that pot had good drainage, but it obviously does. And these have seeds coming up. I'm hoping they're petunias. I had petunias in there last year, and after they went to seed, I just kind of sprinkled the seeds all around, hoping that they would reseed themselves. I guess we'll find out when those come up, if they're weeds or if they're petunias. And more irises. Lots of blueberries coming on. Look at all those blueberries. This is our little fountain that we have up on our porch. And when it's warm enough to sit out here and just listen to it, that's really relaxing. It's pretty chilly out right now. I still have a few plants right here that are still going inside at night. But these are more pumpkins, onions, and a couple of types of sunflowers, and more pumpkins. These in this one right here, those are small pumpkins, like the decorative kind. The neighbor man gave me the seeds for those. One more gaze at my garden in general, my main garden. It's just, I love coming out here and just looking at it. Every day it has grown. Oh, I was going to show you over there. I've got calendula in bloom. Such a pretty flower. Now I'm inside in my grow room. You can see my shelves are pretty empty. But I still have a few things in here. A couple kinds of sunflower. I planted some cantaloupe and watermelon, and they have not germinated yet. I think I have a twig of grass in there with the watermelon. And that's corn, and it's actually starting to come up. I wasn't sure that the corn outside was going to come up, so I thought, well, I'll plant some starts just in case. So, and my little moringa tree, as I told you in a previous video, it does not like my current temperatures outside, so it's staying in the house until it gets in the 80s and 90s outside and warmer at night than it is now. But there was one of the branches that, from what little I took it outside before, just kind of got yuckied up. So I plucked that off, and we've got new stuff coming up here. So it's looking healthy now. And up here I planted some more seeds. I planted, let me think what I planted. I labeled it. Oh, I planted some okra. I should turn that around so I can. I planted okra. Drew a little illustration there so I knew how many squares were okra. And I planted also some fennel, the kind that has the bulb at the bottom, and what else did I plant? Eggplant. I've got some eggplant outside, but you can never have too much eggplant. So that's that. That's all I've got in here. Here I have some basil growing on my windowsill in the kitchen. And here I've got some tomato cuttings. Hopefully they go to seed on me and don't rot. That way I can start some more tomatoes, as if I need more. But I get a pleasure out of making starts. So, one more thing I wanted to show you. This is my holiday cactus. I know this is the wrong time of year, but look what's on it. It hasn't bloomed out yet. It's been in bud form for a while, but there it is. And That's my lemon plant, and that's my avocado plant. And so far I'm keeping them alive. And just a quick view of the house plants over here. And turn you around quickly, not too quickly so I don't get you dizzy. And the house plants over there. Well, folks, that was my little garden tour from after the rain, well, probably in between rains, according to my weather app. We're supposed to still have more rain today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. Today said 90%, tomorrow said 91%, Wednesday said 96%, then Thursday it said 27%. Saturday's the day I'm looking forward to. It said 0%. Well, you know, that can change, but hopefully those 90s are inaccurate and we have sunshine enough to dry out everything so that things continue to grow. They like the rain, but I don't know if they like too much of it. We've been having too much of it. I asked my husband if the wheat farmers around here can get too much rain, and he said yes, because the root, he called it foot rot, and I think in our gardening world we call it root rot from getting too much water. So hopefully that isn't happening. Hopefully they're getting just the amount that they need for productive wheat crops this year. Anyway, that is my little tour for today. Today's Monday, what is today, the 18th? Oh, 40 years ago today. I remember distinctly. It was a Sunday morning. Today's a Monday, but the 18th of May, 40 years ago, I was standing in front of the mirror in my bathroom. I lived in Newport, Oregon at the time. My train of thought got interrupted there. Hubby came in for a few minutes. Okay, I was starting to tell you about 40 years ago. Oh yes, I was standing in front of my mirror on a Sunday morning, 40 years ago, May 18th, getting ready for church, actually. And I heard this humongously loud boom. My first thought was that an airplane had broken the sound barrier. I lived right on the ocean. I mean, I could look out my windows and see on a clear day you could see forever. So I thought maybe it was an airplane. We would hear them once in a while. But it didn't take me long to find out what it was. It was Mount St. Helens. It exploded. Over the next few days, we got, a covering, a dusting of ash over everything outdoors. We got far, far less than the people on the east side of the mountain. The people in like Yakima, Moses Lake, and all those, that direction, they got a lot. Over this direction where I am now, a lot. But I was on the west side on the Oregon coast. But we still got ash. And that was just the beginning of, it seemed like weeks of the mountain spewing. But that first explosion was huge. And of course we were all worried about this old gentleman called Harry Truman. Not the president, just an old gentleman called Harry Truman. He lived up on the mountain, in a cabin. He refused to evacuate. He said, if the mountain goes, I go with it. Well, he did. And there were a few scientists that expired too. Some of them made it out, though, and were able to tell their story. It was several weeks or maybe even months or so afterwards, might have been several months afterwards, we drove up to Portland, drove up Interstate 5 toward north in Washington to see where the Toutle River was, and it was just sticks and mud. The trees, I mean, all the trees from the mountain had come down the mountain in a mud flow, and there was no greenery on them at all. They were just sticks and mud, and I mean, it was amazing, totally amazing. If you drive up that way now, everything's grown back and it's beautiful. Several years ago, I'm gonna make a guess and say that it might have been 5 or 6, maybe 10 years ago. I lose track of time. My son was thinking that he was into mountain climbing, and he hiked up to the top of Mount St. Helens with a group that goes up that way. He had to give up mountain climbing because he had some not so good experiences a couple of times when he was hiking in the North Sisters Mountains and over near Bend, Oregon, where the doctors finally said that he has some kind of something that he can't do heights because it messes with his equilibrium and his ability to stay conscious, because he had to be life flighted out of there a couple of times, and after that he learned his lessons. They told him, don't go up there again. So he doesn't even live around here anymore. He moved to Iowa. Anyway, that's about all I have for you today. Memories of interesting times and a tour of how my garden survived all of the rain. And if it survived, hopefully the sun stays shining today long enough. But we're supposed to get more rain, but right now it's looking really good out there. Hopefully it warms up. It was about 51 when I went outdoors and started talking to you, and it's warmed up to 58 right now. But hopefully it warms up enough to dry everything off. And all the plants, after getting all that water, they need the sunshine and the drying off before they get more rain. But I'm going to leave you. Today's video is going to be a little longer than some of the ones I've done lately. Thank you for watching my video. Hopefully you watched it all the way to the end. If you did, thank you for watching. Don't forget to hit that little like button. And subscribe if you haven't already. I really appreciate that. And share my channel so I can grow. I do this just for fun. I don't have enough subscribers to earn any money from it. But being on a fixed income, retired, it would be nice to earn a little bit of money. I don't need much. I'm okay. We're just living on Social Security and my teacher's pension, which many years of my teaching were not with the system. They were in private school, so I didn't pay into a pension, but I was only 17 years into my teacher's pension, so it adds enough that we're okay. We're not rich by any stretch of the imagination, but we're okay. We make ends meet. But a little extra pin money would sure be nice sometimes to feed my seed and plant buying habit, for one thing. Anyway, I think you have to have over 1,000 subscribers and lots of watch time. And I'm not even anywhere near close. So if you feel like helping out, just share my videos. So ask other people to subscribe to me. That would be appreciated. Of course, that's your choice. You don't have to. I enjoy talking to you. And I will see you again when I make my next video. Until then, may the good Lord richly bless you. Bye.